tribe. Happy the first Monday of the year 2021. Oh my gosh. I've heard some jokes that, you know, we should actually be worried because it means 2020 is finally old enough to drink. Terrible, terrible. I know. Anyway, I'm glad you're here. Thanks for watching. If you're watching live, please give StreamYard permission to show who is watching. If you're watching on Facebook or if you're watching on YouTube, you can just post a comment, let me know you're here. Give me some hearts, likes, let me know what's up for you. Uh, my name is Angela Ward, a registered nurse, transformational coach, and CEO of Guardian at the Gateway. And I've really been honored to work with some amazing people over the last year. I'm really looking forward to seeing what this next year holds for us. So, I have a question for you. The talk today is about vision and imperfect action. So, my question is for you, what does it mean for you to have a vision? What does it mean? Why does action matter? These are some of the questions that we're going to be talking about. So, again, if you're watching live, please leave some comments. Let me know that you're here. If you're watching the replay, please put replay in the comments. And really looking forward to hearing how this lands for you today. So, are you ready? Are you ready? Yeah. So, feel free to take notes or just take really a good listen and see how this lands for you. Hello, Ellie. So glad you're here. So, we're going to talk about vision. We're going to talk about this imperfect action and why they go together. We've been talking in the last couple weeks here in the Unveiled Vitality group about intention and integration of the last year and coming into the next. And obviously, this is a hot topic for everyone this time of year. But I think over the next month, it's really going to make some sense for us to really get clear on this intention and what we're trying to activate and have happen within our lives over this next period of time. And part of being able to do that is to have a vision of where you want to go, right? So if we were traveling for an example, I I really don't think there's anyone that like just spins the globe and pops their finger on it and says, "We're going to go there." And then just off you go. I think many of us have an idea of where we might like to travel and how we might like to feel while we're there, what sights we might like to see. So, in that process, let's say of planning a trip, planning a journey, we envision what it might be like, what might be highlights of places to go see. I had the honor last year of attending the World Ayahuasca Conference in Spain, and it was really awesome to be able to be like, okay, well, while I'm here, what's the vision for important things that I want to see? I don't know if I'll ever be this way again in my life. And so while I'm here, what do I envision? How do I want to feel here? And I knew I really clearly wanted to enjoy just sitting and drinking in the sights and being in a relaxed state. And I also knew there was some art that I wanted to clearly be able to see. I also wanted to have a sense of discovery and surprise. So, being able to have a little bit of that vision helped me put it into action when I was there. So, what does it mean to have a vision? It really means knowing why you're doing what you're doing. And when we're looking into a new year where we're talking about resolutions or intentions or goals or all of these things, we really need a unifying reason to understand why we're even taking these steps in the first place. A big challenge is many people first will say, well, I don't want to feel this way anymore. I don't want to act that way anymore. They're saying all the things that they don't want, which is fine and appropriate to maybe start sloughing away ideas of what's not serving you. But until you can get the vision of where you're going, like I could say, I don't want to go. I'm like, let's say I want to go to Egypt, but I'm spending all that time planning all the places I don't want to go see in Greece or don't go see in Turkey or don't go see in Sudan, right? Like that doesn't actually help us get to where we're trying to go and to drink in what we want to actually experience along this path. So, a vision is the act or the power which gives a direction in our life to make our goals and dreams a reality. And these components of your vision, it really should embody the values that matter to you. So, let's say you have a vision and you don't want to feel anxious anymore, for example. Yet, it's really helpful to find what that opposite feeling is that you're aiming for. Not that in 2021, I don't want to feel anxious. Well, you're still saying anxious and it's still like on your radar as a place to point to. So we have to kind of get the vision of what not feeling anxious is and speaking that and building that into being. So if the value that you are carrying embodied is one of I value peace, I value harmony, I value kindness, I value relationship. Start getting some of those values into place and also getting some vision of what this trip might look like, this trip on earth, this walk on this path might look like. And it's great not to make it too generic, like I just want to be happy, because that's just so non-specific. It doesn't have that kind of power for action within it. Know that it's important that this vision can change over time. You might not know exactly what it's going to be, but we can start like getting those little threads untangled of what direction we're heading. So, what's the difference between a vision versus a goal, right? So, goals are something that can have measurable steps within them. It can have structure, it has a way to evaluate where we're going and kind of do data collection. And they are an essential component often of a vision. But without that vision, a goal is kind of just moving through the motions, right? The vision gives us that understanding of why we're taking the steps within that goal. How can we create this vision? So, we definitely talked about values, getting in alignment with your values, but also getting an embodied sense of what feels like that deep fuck yes, that deep fuck yes for you. Not the like, I should do this because someone else said, but like, that's really it. Like, identifying the core values, your passions, what you maybe believe to be your purpose. Some if you've just watched the Soul movie, which is so wonderful. Has anyone watched that? Please comment if you have. I think there's a clear message in there that your inspiration and spark in the world isn't necessarily your purpose. I think that's important to remember. But I do think it's interesting to get some clarity around why am I here and what do I have to contribute and what helps, you know? Um, and there can be lots of answers to that question. So it's kind of fun to think about that little piece. Um, and it's also really important when you're thinking about your vision of how you envision your life, how you would really like it to be, even in spite of the challenges of the life that we're living. What else do I want to say about that? I can't remember who said it to me. I feel like it's an old belly dance teacher. Maybe if Amelia watches this, she can clarify if it was Susan. I think it might have been who said something about how important it was to have enough money for your wine and bread, but also enough money to put roses on your table, even if it's a little bit, a few pennies for a flower, a few pennies for your glass of wine or your loaf of bread or whatever, so that there's still this way to make each moment really an embodied place of beauty and joy, if that's what you're into. I mean, maybe you're into like ugliness and pain, but I'd say 2020 was already all about that. So maybe we can try something different for 2021. Gotta get an amen. Anybody feeling me on that one? Um, but once we have that vision of where we want to go, how the hell do we get there, right? How do we buy a plane ticket and get on the plane and travel to Spain and go to the places, right? So there is definitely some planning or goal setting in order to start moving in the direction of the vision. Um, However, people can get really stuck here. It's like, well, how do I get to the vision? Well, I have to sit down and I have to write out every single step and every single goal, and I have to be very rigid and diligent around each step that I take to get there. Right, Erica, 2020 was enough of that. Beauty and ease. Let's go there. That sounds way more fun. Um, so the vision doesn't have to be totally fleshed out. That's really important to remember. Is sometimes when I talk with people about what do they envision for their lives or how might they imagine the future could look for them, it's really impossible to even imagine. Have any of you had that problem where you're like, I don't know, I think I probably should maybe want to buy a house, or maybe I'm supposed to, I don't know, get out of debt. Um, it can be tricky sometimes if you don't have a chance to really play with visioning and an active imagination. And part of that, I think, comes from a high level of stress of thinking that there's a lot of shoulding of how your vision should be and how other people might respond to your vision. So, in that place of stress, we're releasing cortisol. And when we're in cortisol, that creates fight or flight. And when you're in fight or flight, you cannot be creative. It's not possible. So, let's kind of go back to that little bit of curiosity and playful place. Be an Dora the Explorer, be an adventurer about, ooh, what might be interesting and what's kind of vibing with me? What's those little breadcrumbs on the trail that this is the right thing? Has anybody gotten one of those intuitive hits sometime when well, I guess it's also in the Soul movie. You've seen it when they kind of get into the zone, that amazing, beautiful zone place. Like sometimes I've gotten like a hit of something being like, oh yeah, this is it. This feels exactly like what I'm wanting to feel. But again, so action is a key here. Thomas Edison said, having a vision for what you want is not enough. Vision without execution is a hallucination. I think that's really true. We can sit there and we can daydream what it might be like to do a thing or have our lives be a certain way. But if there's not a step towards moving in that direction, you will never get there. And rather than making the exhaustive list that you can never accomplish or that's too overwhelming to even start, we want to take some imperfect action, a little step in the direction that we want to go with levity and kindness, and knowing that it's okay to course correct along this path. So, one way that I do that is simplifying and understanding what is like the one or two small acts that I can commit to just for today, that might perhaps move me in the direction of that vision. Or for some people, it might even be, what can I do in this moment? What can I do right now without having to imagine, excuse me, like, especially at the beginning of the new year, people are like, I'm changing my diet and I'm never drinking alcohol again and I'm exercising 6 days a week and I'm blah, blah, blah. I'm sure we've all had those moments where you're like, I'm doing all the things. And then you're like, I can't do any of those things. So let's start small, couple little things that are kind of stepping that direction. See if it's getting those hits like, oh, what is it? What is that correct for me? Is that the right feeling? Is that, even if it might be hard or uncomfortable, there may still be a sense of maybe accomplishment or maybe a sense of pride or gosh, what are some other feelings that you might feel that would indicate that you're on the right track? Has anybody got something they could add there? I'd love to hear what your thoughts are that you're on the right track. So I'd like to share this little poem from you. I can't remember who wrote it, but um, it first crossed my radar when I was a much younger person, and I made a very bold step to go on my first ever trip vacation all by myself. I went with Delilah to a belly dancing retreat in Maui that I paid for little bit by little bit myself. And I was really nervous because I hardly knew anybody there. And I'd never flown alone before. I'd never gone anywhere by myself. But this poem, when I made my deposit to make this trip, this came in the mail right away. And I've kept it. And I read it all the time. It makes a lot of sense to me. It says this: until one is committed, there is hesitancy, a chance to draw back. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. That the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance, which no man could have dreamed would have come his way. Whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now. Right? Isn't that like, oh, yes. And I think that's true. In my experience, when I've like taken a step in the direction, like the universe is willing to conspire in my favor. I start thinking of something or start talking to someone about something, and the whole thing comes to life all of a sudden. There's been more than one time that I've come across a concept in my own work and then had a conversation with someone and they realize, oh, there's this whole other school of thought that already talks about this, and had people refer me to that information or connect with people in a different way that maybe I never would have thought of if I hadn't like just kind of cracked that door in that path. So I'd really like to allow you to invite in that piece of magic and that piece of serendipity or whatever you might want to call it. I think it's super fun. So here's a few call to actions for you. So if you have your notepad ready, get ready to write this down. I'll probably post this in the group later too, so you can answer some of these questions. But regarding your vision, the questions are: what is the vision for your life? What are you deeply passionate about? What type of work, and I mean that in a very broad sense, what type of work do you find engaging and truly enjoy? And if someone were to describe you, what words would you want them to use to describe you? And I love this one. At the end of your life, what will have been your greatest accomplishment? Ooh, that makes me want to cry. I don't know if I've shared with some of you, I think, over time, that it took me a long time to come up with my like purpose and mission in life. And to me, my mission is to learn all I can about love, to learn how to share it, to learn how to receive it, to learn how to give it, and to recognize it in all its forms. And that's been a really interesting perspective to orient through. So I'd love to invite you to get creative with some of that. If you need a resource for that question, some of you have had the Rituals for Living Dream Book and Planner. There's some fantastic questions in the beginning of the Rituals for Living Dream Book and Planner that can help you kind of play with these ideas of what you'd like different aspects of your life to look like. And we do work with this inside the Full Spectrum Vitality Collective. A bonus question that I'd love to see you post about in the group today, friends, is what can you commit to today in service of your vision? What's the one small thing for today? And remember, you can't fuck it up. You can't fuck it up. You can try one thing today and you can try something else tomorrow. So that would be super fun. Okay, I have some announcements I'd like to make, and I would also like to draw a little card for the week because that's been super fun to do lately. Um, I'll let you guys pick. Should I do announcements first or card first? Whoever answers first is the winner. So I know there's a little delay. I'm going to wait. Okay, Ellie's the winner. We're going to do the spirit animal because they're so great. I'm going to just keep shuffling until you tell me to stop. Oh, Erica, you were a little slow on the draw. We're going to do cards first. Ooh, Just wait until I see. Wait until I see what to do. Stop. Left hand on top. It was shorter. You're right. It was shorter to type card. Good point. Okay, well, I'll make sure to do the announcements next time, Erica. Thank you for pointing that out. Okay, here's our. Oh, we got a good card today. We got. Okay, can you see? Eagle Spirit. Spirit has your back. Okay, let me hold it up and read it to you. And the number's 23, if numbers mean anything to anybody and that has excitement to it. 23 seems like a good number. It's kind of a ridiculous age to be back in the day, but okay, Eagle Spirit. Boom, here we go. Take a look at it while I read this sucker to you. Think of eagles flying high above the other birds, soaring on the wind. Eagle has appeared to ask you whether you're willing to soar to new heights, even if that means solitude for a short while. Truly, all the wisdom of the world is available to you. When storms flash across the sky, it is Eagle Spirit that raises you above it all, helping you to conquer fear and overcome adversity, reminding you that Spirit has your back and wants you to experience life at the fullest. At this moment, you are meant to know that you have the highest of wisdom and courage within, gifted to you by Spirit and all the angels. Boldly build your nest in lofty spaces and know that now you can fly effortlessly, proudly embodying Eagle Spirit in all her glory and grace, claiming what is truly yours in divine timing. The protection message says, if you are walking awkwardly and feeling embarrassed, Eagle Spirit is here to tell you that is only because right now you are meant to fly. Soar over the troubles you have, feeling scared and alone. See the big picture, yet retain your eagle eye for the details that help you to claim your wisdom and courage. Or perhaps you are making yourself small for the sake of getting others to accept you. Now is not the time to be vulnerable and dependent, for you have the wings to fly on your own, and you need to do that at this time. Hang on. It must be incredibly quiet up there. But maybe it's loud. I don't know. Maybe you can hear interesting things from up in the sky. There is no need to huddle in a shelter or even to seek out a flock to support you, for Eagle Spirit says you have tremendous wisdom and courage within. Let it arise so that you might soar proudly, with the angels serving as the wind beneath your wings. From these heights, you can make the best and most powerful choices for the highest good of all. So that's a little guidance from the Spirit Animal Oracle this week. What do you think about that? I think that's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. I'm going to have to meditate on that one. I'll see if I can post that in the group too. So announcements that is fast, longer to type. So there's a couple different things. First of all, I'd like to offer some congratulations to a few people that have joined the Full Spectrum Vitality Collective. So Kurt Nance is going to be rejoining, and Joe Murray is coming in for the first time, and I'm really excited to be doing that. We're going to be getting going in the next couple weeks. I think there's one other person joining that I'm not certain if I can reveal, but we'll check. So that is super exciting. If there's anybody that wants to show up and come on over. So here's the enrollment link. It's just bit.ly GGFSV enroll. And if you have questions about it, I'd love to talk with you about it. I think it's been really, really sweet and lovely. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Shelly. And then the other announcement I want to make is not everyone that watches Mondays with Meaning watches this on Facebook. I do also stream this on YouTube and on LinkedIn. There are people that aren't interested in coming into Facebook. And I want you to know that there has been a new space created just for us to get off the Facebook platform if that's interesting to you. So, this is on Mighty Networks. Here's the link to join. This is totally private. Mighty Networks is really fantastic. It's where we're going to be running the group from now on. Not this group, but the Full Spectrum Vitality Collective. It's got more of a community feel, meaning it's a little easier to post and share information in there and follow the streams, but it's also not owned by Mark Zuckerberg. So there's, for those of you that are feeling an interest in having a different sacred container to do this work in, I'd love to invite you over there. So that's another announcement. And then the third and final announcement, this is important. So please, please mark your calendars, invite your friends. We're going to be doing a week-long deep dive into the disruptor. A couple weeks ago, we did a little short webinar about Disrupt the Disruptor, and it was a hit. You guys seemed like you got a lot of information out of it. So, we're going to spend some time um, diving in day by day, kind of like we did last summer when we did the Revitalized Wellness Workshop. So that's going to be starting Monday, January 18th at 9:30 a.m. Pacific time. There's going to be prizes and there's going to be fun things, and it's going to have a little workbook, and we're going to work through this stuff. Um, I'm creating this for you to help kind of get the mindset back on track. And of course, that's really in service. I'd love to support all of you. Um, we'll talk more about that, and there'll be announcements in different locations to let you know how to sign up and all of that stuff. So I think those are all my announcements. Is there anything else that we have questions about? Um, I just want to also give props out to Nicole Zimmerman, my assistant, who is just like killing it. She's freaking amazing. And if you guys haven't had a chance to talk with her, I think you should. She's just like, she's been doing really good, bringing some really great content into the group. And I'm really looking forward to how this next year is going. All right, my beautiful friends. So great to see you today. We'll be back next Monday for Mondays with Meaning. And please let me know how you're going to work on your vision this week. All right, much love. Bye, everybody. Mwah.